falling! Okay, I gotta be quiet. My neighbors. Apartment neighbors. Hopefully they don't go out there and call the cops because some guy is screaming in his bedroom at 2 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, that's right. This video is being uploaded a little bit earlier than you normally would be seeing Vancouver Canucks related content on this channel, because the Canucks game is earlier too. Thanksgiving weekend, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Vancouver, the Canucks, they're back home. And they are playing off against Jordan Binnington and the Blues at 4:30 p.m. PST. It's quite the interesting start time here in Vancouver. And this is a game where I think there's a lot riding on this one. And, yeah, there's going to be a decent amount of Canucks fans, I think, who listen to that and say in the comments section below, like, what are you talking about? It's the third game of the year. What do you mean this is an important game? Why do we have to come to any conclusions about who the Canucks are and how good they are based off of how they play in Game 3? And that's a very fair point. It's really early to make any conclusions about any Vancouver Canucks. But I think, piggybacking off of our Elias Pettersson conversation from yesterday, fans in Vancouver are, let's just say, a little bit restless. And I'd say for Elias Pettersson in particular, there's a lot of built-up angst and anxiety that has lashed out in this fan base on social media, on digital media, on radio media, in some of the most conclusion-coming-to ways possible. I could have just said conclusive, but I think that gives off the wrong idea. We've seen a lot of Canucks fans over the past few days make a ton of conclusions about this team, about the players on it, about the status of how good some of these guys are, and the status on whether or not some guys are going to want to leave. You know, this has been a really interesting year way before the year even began, because we were all talking about Vancouver Canucks defenseman captain Quinn Hughes, the #1 D-man point scorer in the franchise's history. We've been talking about him the entire summer and saying, hey, the guy wants to leave. The guy wants to go to New Jersey. The guy wants to play with his brothers. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. The second Vancouver proves themselves as not good enough to win and not fulfill this guy's burning passion and desire to win a championship, the moment that doesn't look like it's possible, he's out of here. And from yesterday and 2 nights ago, the game against Edmonton, where the Vancouver Canucks were, quite frankly, very disappointing. The only one that wasn't was, I guess you could say, Thatcher Demko. Yeah, no, he definitely was not disappointing. I take that back. Demko, you were fantastic. But everybody else was lackluster to not good. And for Elias Pettersson, he received the bulk of the criticism and the outward negative attention from fans in this market after that game #2 against Edmonton. Let's just take a look at some of the other responses here. I promise I'm not just going to go out there and repeat everything we said in yesterday's video, but this is what was talked about as well. It's not about Pettersson, but it's about Quinn Hughes. This is the post-game video interview that Quinn Hughes had after the Canucks ended up losing to the Oilers. You can see that he's got his swag on, and yeah. Top reply says, LOL, where are the good vibes from training camp? Sounds like he's ready to leave. And this comment, quite cynical, I will say, but it does speak to a very real and very truthful underlying fear that Canucks fans have. That anytime the vibes go down, anytime the team takes a bad L or they totally underperform or guys don't show up, this, that, or the other, that's when we're going to have to start seeing more of the Quinn Hughes stuff. And this reply, also in the comment section of the Quinn Hughes video, Malcolm in the middle says, man, every single time we lose, we're going to have to deal with clowns in the comments saying that Quinn is leaving. Y'all are reading way too much into this. He's pissy because they played like garbage. Time to focus on Monday in St. Louis. There are 80 games left. Now, there are a number of other comments saying, oh yeah, bye-bye, he's gone. Like, this is a battle that's going to continue for the rest of the season, and it's going to be especially contingent on how well the team actually performs this year. If they continue playing games like they did against Edmonton, where the only real star is the goalie, even Quinn Hughes can't create something out of nothing, he's only able to get 1 assist, then we are just going to have to keep on dealing with this Quinn Hughes wants to leave discourse until the time inevitably comes where he's eligible to sign the contract and Vancouver either makes the decision to trade him or re-sign him. But if the Canucks start to win, that is the number one antidote that can fix everything. And it can fix everything quickly. Not even just win, but they need to win in the same way that they were winning in 23-24. Get the lead early, keep the play to the outside in the second and third, shut it down, not lose a game in the third period when you had the lead for half the gosh darn season, and most of the games, in fact. That was a crazy, crazy season, and if their vibes can match that level in this season's worth of play, then Quinn Hughes probably has all the ammo he needs to stay. But so far, with Elias Pettersson, the hate that he's been getting, you listen into Sportsnet 650 post-game show, everybody's calling in, talking about Pettersson. You go into social media, you go into fantasy hockey forums, everybody's saying, oh yeah, drop Pettersson. Drop this guy, he's not good. He doesn't have it back. No patience for this guy anymore, 11.6 million, what's happening? This is the reality we live in now, and heading into today's game against the St. Louis Blues, I wanted to refer to a tweet from Brady. He responded to this post made by Sean Bowie. I forgot how quickly things get extremely negative on Canucks Twitter when things don't go well. Last night against the Oilers was not a good showing at all for damn near everyone but Demko, but let's not forget we are but 2 games in with a new coach. The sky's not falling yet, people. Brady then responded saying this, it's hard not to in the moment, but people get too high or low after a single game result, as if the remaining 80 games are going to be like Saturdays. Having said that, that was an ugly performance with some concerning takeaways. Last season is in the back of all of our minds, but the Oilers are in a different class. Tomorrow versus St. Louis will be a good test for the Canucks, as both clubs could be fighting each other for wildcard spots. So I refer back to the comment that I made at the very beginning of this video. This is going to be quite the important game. At the end of the season, when Vancouver and St. Louis are separated by 3 or 4 points in the standings because they're both fighting for a wild card, this game, and depending on what happens in it, this could be very influential as to what happens by this time in April. But also in the short term, you can say that this is quite impactful. Pettersson needs to wake up. He needs to have himself a game. He needs to score himself a beautiful one-timer. He needs to be able to drive a line. He's got DeBrusk and Besser on his wings. Yes, you can say that that line might not actually be all too well suited to creating offense because of the lack of a pure play driver, but hey, Pettersson's making 11.6 million, man. You can't make that amount of money and not be able to drive plays. So there are a number of concerns that we will have to pay attention to as the Canucks play off against the Blues today. It's going to be Game 3 of 82. So even if the Canucks get totally blown out today, the sky is not falling, but there's already a pretty open blanket of pessimism that's been opened up here for the Canucks fan base, and I just question how far that's going to go before we start seeing some good news. So there's your pre-game scouting report for this hockey game, I guess. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the entire Quinn Hughes wants to leave discourse, and whether or not people like me are making it worse by making videos about it? I'm just repeating what everybody else is talking about, man. Like, this topic is not going away, and it's not going to go away until we actually see some gosh darn winning in this city. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button's down there for you too. Comments help out with the algorithm, so I'd appreciate it if you did get involved there. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99. We'll be back with a post-game video by the time the Canucks and the Blues are finished. And bye.